Every parent has a dream for their child. For that child to make their way in the world, powered by love, driven by hope, and a wish for a better tomorrow.
Joe was always a great kid, you know, the only boy out of 4 children. He was always treated like the king. But he was a funny kid. He'd be getting in trouble at school for, you know, being the jokester, just happy-go-lucky. Then he found music in 6th grade, and that just became his entire life.
I found out that my grandpa used to play violin, and my grandma still had his violin, you know, put away in her house. And I liked the melody better, so I switched over to violin in 7th grade, and I've been playing that ever since.
We were in the middle of a competition one time, and the judge said to us, "Who's his private teacher?" And I said, "He doesn't have one." And she said, "Oh my gosh," she said, "I never do this," but she wrote down a name and number, and she said, "This kid has so much potential, and I can't believe he's self-taught. You need to get him a real violin, and you need to get him to a real teacher, because there is just something about the passion, his technique."
I would come home from school, like 4 o'clock. I'd go into my room and practice till all hours of the night.
He would play constantly. I'd have to go into his room late at night and say, "You have school tomorrow, put the violin down, go to sleep." But he just absolutely loved it, and it loved him.
When I was just practicing, my arm would get sore. I could only play for like maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then I had to stop and take a break, and then play for another 20 and 30 minutes.
I first noticed something was wrong right when he had his 15th birthday. And I took him to the pediatrician, and she said, "Well, it's, you know, so much violin playing, it's probably just tendinitis. Just take a few weeks off, rest your arm, and you'll be fine."
But Joe was not fine. Through the course of almost a year, Joe was repeatedly misdiagnosed. Finally, a mother's love and determination prevailed.
We went to get an x-ray, and the doctors, you know, looked at it, and we heard him from the other room say, "Oh my gosh," you know, and I was like, "Mom, is that my x-ray he's looking at?"
We were in the examining room, and the surgeon, 2 oncologists, the RN, the nurse practitioner, like this whole team of people walked in, and they said, "Oh boy." They thought we knew.
Being 15 and diagnosed with cancer, you don't expect it, because you hear about elderly people, you know, getting cancer. You don't think at 15 years old you're gonna get it.
And he started talking about the procedures and how for the next year and a half, Joe would be in a hospital, and I just couldn't believe, you know, I thought we were there for a broken arm.
There was that point where it wasn't completely about fighting for my arm, it was more my life.
Joe was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, a very rare and deadly form of bone cancer. Only 400 people in the United States and 700 people worldwide are diagnosed with the disease each year.
He lost every bit of hair on his body, including the hair in his nose. And it's just so weird, because you always see the bald person. He has no eyelashes to catch the tears, nothing in his nose or ears.
You feel like you got hit by a truck without the bruises or the cuts. It just completely breaks you. When I was going into surgery, they didn't do anything wrong, but because my bones were so brittle when they lifted me by my arm, it just snapped in half, and it went to the side and up about 2 or 3 inches into all the muscle and everything in there.
He weighed nothing, he was gray. There were so many instances like that where he was just so close to being gone.
The Make-A-Wish Foundation has saved my life, because they, you know, everyone has a different wish, but It gives you something to hold on to when you don't have anything. And it gets you through the day, the hell, every day. Knowing that the next day is going to be the same thing for over a year. And having this to look forward to gave me something to hold on to, and it got me through it.
Joe's family reached out to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, who promised to help make Joe's lifelong dream come true.
He may not want to tell you, but he did ask me at one point. He said, you know, you guys could really use the vacation, and why don't we just do that for everybody? And I said, Joe, forget that. Let's just say that I could come up with a vacation for us. What is your wish really? And he said, well, you know it really is to have the violin. And I said, that's your wish, Joe. Then don't waste it on the vacation. Do your wish.
The violin that Make-A-Wish granted me with, it's not your typical instrument. It's professional quality. I mean, it was amazing. Everything about it, it fit me as a person.
If people could grant wishes, you have no idea how far that wish goes and what it means. It's better than any chemo out there. It's better than any surgery. I mean, I hope no kids get cancer, but I know that that's a sad fact that they're going to. If they could have a wish to hang on to, it would just help the entire family.
Life is shorter than most people realize, and living, you know, day to day, you know, praying that you're going to wake up in the morning. You wake up and you go outside and realize it's a new day, and you have to start fresh.
Joe faced a long road to recovery. It was 10 months before he could even hold a pencil. Against enormous odds, Joe returned to the violin and within 4 months realized his dream by performing in front of his family and friends at the world-famous Carnegie Hall.